Hey, what's up? Ian here, and today I'd like to talk about this KZ EDXS. The retail price for this is a mind-boggling $11 US, and if you guys are interested to check out more, do take a look at the unaffiliated link in the description below. And in this video, I'm going to go through the accessories, design, build quality, fit and comfort, and my sound impression of this KZ EDXS. And of course, I'll conclude if it's worth your $11 US or not, but I think it's a no-brainer. It's just $11 US. Right, so let's begin. First, it comes in this typical KZ box. The specs are at the back. The impedance is 19 ohms, sensitivity is 106, and the frequency range is 20 to 40,000 hertz. Now, inside the box, you'll find the typical KZ cable and the KZ ear tips. These are the dome shaped ear tips. They are not the starline ear tips. Okay, and so that's the accessories. Nothing special about those. Now, in terms of the earphones, they are also pretty typical in terms of the shape, the design, and the faceplate as well. I mean, KZ always comes up with a very unique faceplate, pretty outstanding faceplates. And for this is no different. So you see some grill here. It's actually not a real grill. It's not open back, so it's fake. On the inside, you do get a pretty typical KZ shape ear tip. You can see the dynamic driver inside, and the nozzle is narrow. It's not the widest, and the 2-pin QDC connector is up here. Okay, so pretty typical design. Now, in terms of fit and comfort, it fits my ear very well as usual, and doesn't give me any pain or any fatigue, and I can wear this the entire day. And pretty good fit. In terms of seal, for the stock ear tips, they're okay, they're fine. They don't give me the best seal, so I use my own ear tips quite often on these. But they do the job. I mean, the stock ear tips, they do the job. Okay, right, so let's talk about sound. All right, so this is the graph of the EDXS. Now, in terms of drivability and what I recommend to drive this with, I would recommend, because these are pretty balanced in terms of tuning, so I would recommend something warm if you like something more fun. And if you want something more technical or analytical, we use something like the FIO M15 to give you a cleaner sound, right? Something more with more details. The Shangling would do a good job, and the FIO, something like that. But if you want something more fun, this earphones is quite adaptable. It adapts to the source. So if you want something more fun, use something like the Walkmans, the Sonys, and the iPods. They will give you a warmer sound, and these earphones will adapt to that. Okay, now in terms of technicalities, it's nothing much to shout out about. I mean, it's $11 US. The resolution of it is fine, it's good, it's above average. Detail retrieval is also pretty okay, right? But you got to bear in mind that this is $11 US. It's not gonna give you the bells and whistles of those top of the line earphones, but these does the job at $11 US. So yeah, soundstage is average size, pretty wide to the sides. It's got good height as well, and the imaging is also pretty good. In fact, these earphones are pretty good for gaming. So if you game a lot, these will give you a lot of details. At the same time, a nice wide sound stage. It's not a surround sound stage, but it's good enough whereby you can identify where the footsteps are coming from, where the explosions are coming from. So pretty good for gaming as well. Okay, so that's for technicalities. Now let's talk about tone and timbre. Tone and timbre for these is actually pretty balanced, pretty natural. The note weight is not too heavy, not too warm, it's not too thin as well, and not dry. So I would say this is actually a pretty balanced tone and timbre. So pretty suitable for a lot of genre of music. Okay, and also it depends very much on the source that you connect this with. So if you connect to a source like the FIO M15S, that will give you a thinner and lighter tone and timbre, and you get more details as well, right? So it depends on what source you connect to. Now let's talk about the sound signature itself. So this is pretty close to Harman. Okay, as you can see, the dotted line is Harman and the red line is the EDXS. And actually, if you ask me, it's a pretty safe tuning. It's not a niche tuning whereby it's focused on a certain group of people. For those audiophiles who likes a bit of both in terms of balance of bass and treble, then this is actually a pretty good IEM, and it's actually pretty good for beginners as well if you are not an audiophile and you want to get your feet wet. So this is actually a pretty good IEM to try it out, your hobby. So in terms of bass, it's actually a little bit sub bass. It's a little bit above Harman target, and the extension of the sub bass is actually pretty good, and the rumble is quite firm and pretty balanced, not too heavy, it's not too warm, it's just nice. It's got a bit of warm, but it's not overly done. Okay, and then for the mid bass is pretty thumpy. It's not the most impactful, not the most immersive type of mid bass, but it does the job. It's above the average, if you ask me, above average in terms of the thump and the impact. And as for the lower mids, the instruments, they sound a bit on the warmer side. Okay, it's not very warm, but it's on the warmer side, and the note weight's just nice, right? Male vocals, they sound pretty engaging as well. Instruments, they sound clear, they sound clean. Not the cleanest, not the most detailed, but they sound clean. So yeah, in terms of balance, right? They are pretty balanced in a way, because it's not overwhelmed by the bass. At the same time, it's not too much too bright. Okay, and then you will get a balance in terms of the instruments in the middle. Okay. Female vocals, I forgot was mentioned about that. Female vocals, they do shine. They've got good sparkle as well to their presence, and good bite and very energetic as well. Okay. Now for the treble is actually pretty safe. It's not the brightest. In fact, actually, it's pretty nice. All right, you got good gain, it's good energy, and good presence, and yeah, overall a very pleasing treble. Is not tuned to those who sensitive to treble, right? So if you are sensitive to treble, this may be on the edge, right? Maybe on the edge, but to me, they sound pretty okay. I find it very pleasing, right? Very pleasing type of treble, and they're not shouty, they're not sibilant or harsh at all. Okay, so if you look at it, it's actually pretty close to Harman in terms of the gain and the energy, and the overall roll off of the treble is pretty natural. So yeah, pretty safe. Treble presence is actually pretty bright and forward. It's not dark. It's not a dark treble. So for those of you again who are sensitive to treble, it's actually a pretty bright IEM. So yeah, it's going to be quite in your face type of treble. And for mid treble, whereby the treble rolls off, it's actually not sibilant. If you look at it, there's no peak, and there's no couplers, artifacts as well. So when I listen to this, there's no sibilance on this IEM, and the air for it is actually pretty natural. It rolls off pretty naturally. It's got a small dip here, and it does sound a little bit hollow, closed in type of airiness, but it comes back up, so yeah, it makes up for it. So overall, I think this tuning is actually a pretty safe tuning, and it's a pretty balanced tuning, and yeah, it's suitable for most genre of music. It's actually jack of all trades and master of none type of tuning. You won't get any excitement of any if let's say you really like bass, you will not get it. If you really like the mids, you are not going to get it, and treble, again, you're not going to get it. So it's actually pretty suitable for the general public. If you like to listen to all kinds of genre, hip hop, trance, techno, even classical jazz and all that. It's actually pretty suitable for that, and it's a chameleon. It does adapt to a lot of sources. So if you adapt it to your iPods or your Walkmans, they sound really fun. If you adapt it to your M15s, they sound really technical. All right, so that's my overall impression of this. Well, let's conclude. Basically, $11. I mean, for some, it's just pocket change, and for some of us in different countries, this is actually quite a lot of money, but it's a good investment, right? So if you are new and you want to try out, high-res audio, this is actually a very good beginner IEM to try out with. But if you already have a lot of IEMs with you, I mean, $11. This is just pocket change, and just add it to your collection. Why not? All right, so yeah, I do recommend this, and it's very cheap and good. Sounds good as well. So that concludes my overall review and impression of this KZ EDXS. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Right, so that's it for now. I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.